We also get email questions, and we get questions by phone. So, we try to answer those very promptly, and get the information out to people. So that's the reason for everything. All this other craziness that we do here is to have the information to answer people's questions. So I cover the reference desk. When Kristen's here, about half the hours that we're open, she covers the other half. Amber's the woman who's out there now is a dedicated sub, so she subs only for this collection. I'm going to pull that too just a little bit, just so that guy's working on driving crazy. So, she covers, anyway, vacations, lunch, it's when only one of us is here and that kind of thing. So, but that's the main thing we want to do. Another job that I do is acquire materials. I figure out what books we want, what city and county and state government documents. I look for manuscripts. As I mentioned, I've had somebody hired helping with that for a while, but that's still primarily my job. I decide we don't do a lot of oral histories. The Museum of Durham History is doing a lot more, but we do try to do an interview with people who donate significant manuscript collections, so that we've got an interview to go along with their papers. And, I decide who we're going to interview for oral histories and that kind of thing. So all aspects of developing the collection. I also promote the collection. I give talks. I'm giving a talk next week at a retirement home in South Durham. I recently, this was kind of interesting, the woman who's the PR person for the city police department called me, and there was some contingent of people, mostly men. I think there was one woman in this crowd. It was really interesting. It was an Air Force, I guess it was a U.S. Air Force initiative, but there were people from all over the world. I mean, one guy behind me was from Nigeria, and the other one was from Tunisia. This room, one guy, an Indian guy in a turban, just people from all over the world who were in Durham as part of this learning experience they were doing. And they had me talk about Durham history. So that was really cool. I got some really interesting questions and that kind of thing. So, and I write an article a month for the Herald Sun newspaper. It's called Treasure. I mean, I've done different things over the years, but right now it's called Treasures of the North Carolina Collection. And I write about, usually a new collection that we've gotten in. So promotion in various ways. And of course I do continuing education for myself too. I go to talks in the community. I'm a member of SNCA, the Society for North Carolina Archivists. I don't know if any of you guys are. Dr. Johnson is a member. I've talked to him, but you could join if you're going to, as a student, or if you're going to be an archivist in North Carolina. They do a conference once a year, and it's really good. Sometimes they'll do workshops before the conference on, different things. Like they've had some good workshops that I did early on dealing with photographs and that kind of thing. But that's a good organization. I'm not a member of North Carolina Library Association right now, but I'm thinking of rejoining. But it seems like the archivist group addresses more of the issues that I feel like I need to stay more up to date on and help with than the North Carolina Library Association. But anyway, I'm out educating myself too. So, and as far as who works here, as I said, there's me, there's Kristen, Amber is our dedicated sub. Then I've got a FUA and somebody who's working with her, or contract people working on the schools project. My contract processor, while Kristen's out. Anybody else? I think that might be all the contract.
So what are their titles? Like processing, archivist, like what? You're saying contractor.
Well, they, I don't know what I call. Probably, what did I call the archivist? I don't know if I called her manuscript. I try to put it in language that I will tell you. Nobody in the county has a clue what I do. I'm the only person in the county who does any. This is not typical county government people you know, they don't know a whole lot about library. You know, they don't quite get libraries either. You know, well, okay, you're open on Saturday. Okay, you know, we cause all kinds of trouble. And then there's me, who's a, you know, like, you know, I started putting photographs on our. We keep our digitized materials on the county servers. And I'm uploading more and more of these, you know, 2 or 3 or 10 megabyte files. And somebody calls our IT person one day and says, "What is she putting on there?" And fortunately, our IT person had worked at the North Carolina collection at UNC and was able to say, "Here's what she does. Here's what she's doing. And can we have more space?" So now they get it. You know, they're. But so, you know, I have to write a job description when I do a contract with county money, and I probably called her a manuscript processor or a processing archivist. I don't, but I, you know, try to make it as much in English as possible, as opposed to library jargon. And then there are volunteers. I've got 2. Oh, and I forgot another volunteer who's kind of a manuscripts assistant. So he will, he actually is paid with some of the Glaxo money right now. Some of the people who were volunteers, who had worked here a long time, when I got the grant, I asked them to work more hours, and if they, you know, and was able to pay them for those extra hours. So Michael does manuscript assistant stuff, like he might house, you know, rehouse photographs, or he might photocopy articles and that, you know, it's whatever we need done to help with manuscript processing. And then I've got volunteers. We usually have, you know, 4 or 5 volunteers going at a time. I've got a couple of people right now working on a really fun project. You know, Durham's a big food town. And so I've got 2 people out in the community kind of going sort of section by section. The Durham Convention and Visitors Bureau has a good food part of their website that breaks it up into different parts of town. So they're taking a part of town and going to those restaurants and collecting menus, and we're adding them to the collection. So, because, you know, people ask me about menus from old, you know, many years ago, and we have almost none. And so I thought, well, you know, this is going to be a really big deal. So I have a couple of volunteers doing that. I have a couple of volunteers indexing the photographs in the newspaper, because people are, there's not a very good index to the paper until 1970. And before that, you know, if somebody wanted, you know, I was in the Soapbox Derby in 1955. If they don't know the date, you either have to sit there and go through every paper for a year, or they don't get it. So we're indexing those photographs.